Hey everybody, I'm on day 14 of a mandatory 14-day quarantine here in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has some of the most strict quarantine regulations in the world. And even though I'm vaccinated, even though I was negative before I got on the plane, I was negative after I got off the plane, I still have to do 14 days in a hotel room where I can't leave, where there's limited sunlight. I can't open the door except to put trash out and take food in. And I've got a little bit better than my wife and my son are 2 doors over. I haven't been able to see them other than on FaceTime for the last 2 weeks. They have to do another week. And you may be asking, well, how come they have to do 21 days and I only have to do 14? My wife was kind enough to take the bullet on this one. Anybody who's not vaccinated has to do 21 days, and my son, being 10 years old, obviously can't get vaccinated. So she's gonna do the 21 days. And so I get out tonight. What I wanted to do though, on this last day, this 14th day, when I've got about 9 hours left before I can get out to freedom, I want to share with you 5 things that helped me get through quarantine. And maybe you have to do quarantine coming up in the future. These things will help you too. These 5 things might make your stay just a little bit more bearable. Who am I kidding? It's not bearable. This is miserable. I cannot wait to get out of here. But these little tricks, these little tips could make it just a little bit more bearable. First thing, structure and routine. Day and night tend to merge into one another here. You get up in the middle of the night, especially if you've flown in from overseas. You're dealing with jet lag. It's daytime, it's nighttime, you're sleeping at different times. Adding structure, adding routine, particularly things you do in your real life, in your normal day life, into the hotel life will make your headspace so much clearer. Don't sit around and walk around in your underwear all day. It's easy enough to just kind of do flip-flops and a t-shirt and not really get dressed. And make sure when you get up, do some exercises. You can see I'm going to show in a little bit. On the ground here, I've got a linen on the floor, and so I can do push-ups, I can do sit-ups, I can do stretches, and I don't have to get down with that kind of dodgy hotel carpet floor. God knows what I'd pick up off that. So I put a linen down, and so you get up, do exercises, take a shower, brush your teeth, do your hair, fix everything, shave. I brought my little electric shaver, and dress. Like I said, don't walk around in your sleeping drawers all day. Get dressed. It will help your headspace, it will help your mental health, and it's going to be a whole lot easier for you. Okay, tip number 2. Ignore those little impulses to get pizza every night because it's so easy to just dial Deliveroo, and eat healthy, at least most nights. Hey, who am I kidding? I had pizza a couple nights. But the reality is, if you do that for 2 weeks, you're gonna feel miserable. You're gonna put on all kinds of weight. I know I've put on a couple pounds, just the sheer lethargy and lack of movement in this room, combined with eating. It's bound to happen. But you can mitigate so much of that. You can see my little setup here. I've got my little fruit and vegetable, or my fruit bag here. It's got apples, got oranges, avocados. I'm going to show you in a minute. My little guacamole making station over there. And it's really important in the fridge. I have some carrots. I've ordered salads a number of times while I've been here. Like I said, a couple nights we got the pizza, a couple nights, an indulgence. But by and large, if you're not eating healthy, if you're not putting those life-giving foods into your body, really should be my wife saying this. If you go to her YouTube channel, you're going to get a whole lot more information on this than I can give, and she's a much better example of it. But every single day, I force myself to eat at least 1 apple, 1 orange. Like they taste horrible or something. They taste delicious. And I got some great apples delivered here. So make sure you're eating healthy each and every day, like I said, and do yourself a favor. You got to do quarantine. Make sure you're eating the good stuff. Yep, see, I took the nightstand that was between the beds, and to maximize space, I put it in the bay window here, so it gets out of the way, and then I moved the beds up against the wall. Okay, and that gave me more space, one for working out, also for having a clean, straight walk, so I can get some of my Fitbit steps in. I haven't
attempted to get them all in, but it's just too much to walk 10 steps this way and then 10 steps back. Never get 10,000 steps without wrecking my hip. But you can see with the beds up against the wall, it frees up this space. And then, of course, the linen area for where I do stretches and push ups and sit ups and try to keep a modicum of exercise going. Some people put their beds up against the wall to give even more space, but the whole idea of having my bed up against the wall, there's a whole aesthetic issue that I have with that. I don't want to feel like I'm living in a dorm junk, I don't know, some kind of, supply closet.
Tip number 4. This is a small one, but I tell you, if you like Tabasco, this is going to make your quarantine so much more bearable. Tabasco makes anything taste better. And some of the hotel food that you're going to experience, there's some higher end hotels where you're going to be able to get some, I hear the food can be quite good. The Ramada Grand View it's pretty much the same old every day. They're very nice. The staff here has been wonderful. I don't mean to rag them. They've been very accommodating. Every time I've called them about something, they've been very sweet, very wanting to accommodate us however they can. They know what we're going through, and so from that end, it's been great. But having said that, the meal program that comes with your quarantine package stay, you get a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And what happens is it's like being a prisoner in one of those movies where I'll hear a knock at the door, and then outside there's a stool, and any deliveries I get or any food that gets delivered, everything goes on that stool. That's the only time I can open up the door, is when there's a knock at that door or I'm depositing garbage. I have to put everything into a plastic bag, seal it, and set it outside the door. But what will happen, I'll hear a rap, it'll be, and I can go out and my food will be there. But the food is very minimal. Some days is better than others, and they have tried to make it vary it up a little bit. The reality is Deliveroo is going to help, deliveries from friends and family is going to help, and Tabasco is really going to help. Let me show you some examples of some of the food you might experience in quarantine. I took the last 3 meals. We have a breakfast here, which a couple lotus buns. There's like a lotus paste inside with a congee with a little bit of chicken in there. And then lunch was like a beef brisket with like a tomato sauce. With this is pretty standard. The rice with the little cabbage and the carrots. You can see they pretty much do that every lunch and dinner by and large. And then beef with, as Tammy and I like to say, what sauce is it going to be? It's always going to be a rice with a sauce. That's pretty much part and parcel. There's been a couple baked rices that have come, which is not too bad. Again, I've eaten it some nights I don't. So again, Tabasco even makes some of that food taste not bad. Not good, just not bad. But what you can see here is my guacamole station. Turn the nightstand, like I said, into where I make my guacamole. I have got a number of fresh avocados. I've got my olive oil. I've got coriander, salt, cumin. Lemon is in the fridge. I mix it up in a bowl that I have. And then I had delivered my favorite salsa from City Super here in Hong Kong, the Frontera Chipotle salsa. I go through this like water. So this is the kind of thing that will help keep you sane while you're in quarantine. Having guacamole, chips, salsa while I'm watching a movie in the evening, I can almost forget that I'm a prisoner. And this is going to go a long way towards your mental health. I had all kinds of ideas about what I was going to achieve during these 14 days of uninterrupted alone time. And I was thinking I'm going to get more of my book done, the book that I'm authoring, or I'm going to do more podcast interviews, or I'm going to do more YouTube clips like I'm doing now. I'm going to utilize this 14 days, and it's going to be highly productive. The reality is it wasn't as productive as I would have liked. I did follow many of these tips, some days better than others. Just got to be perfectly candid. There was a couple days where I didn't get dressed till midday, and I'd start feeling all despondent. I'd feel like down, and then go take a shower again, clean up, shave, brush my teeth, and that's where I learned to offer these tips, because you just feel like 150% better once you do that. Because there's something about being in this room. You get really lethargic. You just don't want to do much of anything. I had trouble, I'm a big book reader. I had trouble even concentrating on books. That's why Netflix comes in handy. You're going to be watching a lot of movies, but I realized a few days in, I was not mentally prepared and geared up to do all the work and projects I thought I was going to do in the hotel for 14 days. Call it a lack of oxygen. I can't open the windows. There's no fresh air. Air conditioning is not too bad. The reality is it's a little bit stuffy in here. It's a little bit warm. It never gets quite cold in here. I've cranked the aircon up, and it just makes it bearable. So all those factors contribute to a lethargy and an inertia. So I want to just tell you, don't feel bad. This is a mental head game that you have to get through 2 weeks of, and in my wife's case, 3 weeks of. And she's already struggling big time with this. But anyhow, this is your Beyond the Pale 5 tips that I hope will help get you through a quarantine. Well, it's come down to this. I'm all packed up. I'm going to give a phone call. They're going to release the elevator. They lock the elevator so people can't leave. Unbelievable. 14 days I have spent in this room. I'm also going to try to get Tammy a bag of leftovers. I got some drinks and things for her. So hopefully as I pass her room, I'll be able to drop that off subtly. I'm checking out now. You can see I've just come down the check-out lift. On the other side of this barrier is where 2 weeks ago Tammy and I arrived. You enter, they have a separate check-in area there. You go up in the lift, and then after your 14 days or 21 days, they release the lift for the checkout, and you come down and you're on the freedom side. I can't tell you how good it feels. I'm finally in a cab going home. It's so good to see the city again, be outside.
Papa, I want to say good night, and I'm now closer, as you can see. I'll tell Maya to call you tomorrow. Good night.